Okay, let's get started. Finished off the barbed wire across the front of the post, and it's not going to show up really well yet. We'll put a little bit of a highlight on it so it does show a tad bit. But once we start adding snow to the wire, that's when it's really going to show up well. So I wet my liner brush, wiped it off. I am going to grab a little bit of that rusty brown color, which, just to remind you, we made it with brown, tad bit of orange, a little bit of the dark brown. So I'm grabbing a little bit of that rusty brown, and I'm going to touch in the light rusty brown. And all I did there to get that light color is pulled a little bit of this to the side, which is the rusty brown, and then added a little bit of white. Just a little bit. And always when you're using that liner brush, you fill it up with paint and then twirl it off so you get your point back again. And just go and follow the line that we have on the opposite side. You'll probably have to do a close-up with your phone to see this. Again, it will show up better when we add snow to it, which that will be toward the end of the project. All right, we're going to go in with the brown and black mixture with the liner brush, twirl off, and let's do that barb again. And I'll show you again on my hand. Let's say that's the barb wire. Okay, I'm just going to say wire. Okay, that's the wire. We're going to put the barb on there, which is you're just coming up and slashing down. That's it. You come up from the wire, come up, slash down, and then just cross over with an X. I've seen them made so many different ways. I really like the ones that have that, the kind of that, like it's been wrapped around. I think those are cool. But for keeping it simple right now, we're going to go with that type of barbed wire. Barb. All right, let's add one about right here. Add one down here. And again, those will show up a little bit better once we add the snow. Okay. Moving on. We're going to start another palette, or I am. Mine's a mess. But I am going to save these colors for now. That means taking a styrofoam plate, using it as a lid. Then I'm going to sit it off to the side with something heavy on top. That'll keep a lot of that air out. We're going to add some clouds finally to that sky. So put some white out on your palette. I probably did about the size of a quarter, maybe a little bit more. And I'm not going to add water this time. You can if you want, because I do want it to have a little bit of a texture when we're putting them on here, the clouds. So as many times as I don't want ridges of paint, in this case, it won't hurt. I'm using my filbert brush. It's just a great pouncing brush. And what I call pouncing, dancing, or blending brush. It's so great on that. Grabbing a little bit of that paint. My brush is damp. And we'll come up here and just dance in some clouds. Let it fade slightly. Going back up in there just to blend it out a little bit. All right, let's do a little bit more. Grabbing a little bit of paint. Not a whole lot of paint, just a little bit. And again, it's thick paint. I didn't water it down. We just need it to be a real cloudy, snowy day. If you get to a part where it's starting to dry and it's not moving for you, dampen your brush, wipe it off, make sure there's no water on the silver part, and then just touch it, and you can blend that right out. Let's see, I've got a little bit of a glare, so I'm going to hold mine up for a moment. All right, that's working. I'll come over here. I'm getting off camera. Using a larger surface is, I've got to get another tripod, but we're still working out the little kinks. You always want to leave some of your background showing up. And the reason this white is showing up so well is because, remember, we did a gray, pretty much a gray and blue sky. And so the pure white is like popping, which that's a good thing. We'll come down a little bit, get around in this area. And of course, if you, like I just did, if you touch your post with a little bit of white, it's okay, because that post is going to have some snow on it later. I'll come down a little bit further. All I did was dampen my brush, wipe it off, and pounce a little bit further down. Grab a little bit more of the white. I know I'm coming in where that wire is. That's okay. It's going to have snow on it, so it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm wiping my brush off. Got it a little damp. And I'm just lightly going over this area here, just to break it up a little bit more. I don't want to lose the strong white, but again, this scene is very cloudy. A little bit of that blue showing through. Let me take a look here. Yeah, that's working. Oh, happy clouds. Good old Bob Ross. Happy clouds. He was such an awesome painter and seemed just to be such the kindest man. You know, he had a pet squirrel. He had several pet squirrels. And he had film of them, a video of them quite a few different times, showing up on his painting show where he's hand feeding them. I think that is so cool. All right, we're happy with those clouds, and we're going to leave it as is. This area here is still, it's pretty thick, so it's still drying. Now we're going to add some wheat stalks. We're going to get to those birds. We're going to add some wheat stalks down here, going up, and some of them are going to be fully formed so we can see them, and then a whole lot of them not, because of course we're into winter and most of those wheat berries have died off. Okay, rinsing my filbert brush off. Y'all let me know if you've seen my past videos. Hadn't been too many of them yet, but uh, versus this one, because I'm using the new mic. I'm using the mic. Can you see it? That my son got me. So cool. Yeah, all I did was just mention to him, the audio is not sounding quite right. Blah 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 blah. And of course, he reminded me, Mom, once you get on one of those video editors, they'll help you with the sound. And I'm like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I will use one soon. And then yesterday he popped by to do something, and he said, "Here you go." Hand me a little box with a mic in it. Actually, it has two. And of course, the funny thing is, look, Lisa loves my side stories. I think Dee does too. And Trish, but none of them mind my side stories. But look at that. See that little furry thing? It is so cool. But if the cats get wind of this, no more mic. So I got to figure out something else. The box did come with a cover, a different kind of cover, and I may change that out because the cats just, oh, they freak over that kind of stuff. All right, let's see if I can put this back on without making a bunch of noise. All right, focus. Here we go. Sorry, that was a little side story. All right, we are going to use again the liner brush to do wheat stalks, and we're going to use the same brown we've been using. So put a little bit of brown. Oh, I'm going to have to get some more soon. This brown I'm using actually is called Brown Velvet by Delta Ceramicoat. And I do like it. I like it a lot. All right, we're going to water it down. And we're going to add some color to it. More color. Again, using your old scruffy brush and stir brush, whatever you want to call it. Grabbing up some water from your cup. And just stir that really nicely. You want almost the consistency of Jell-O before it sets up. Really thin. Because we're just doing a lot of wispy wheat stalks, maybe a few weeds in there. It's just an old winter scene. Okay, nice and thin. Let's say some of them were hanging in there really well and still have a little bit of yellow to them. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, just grabbing just a touch of that watered down brown, putting it in my yellow. It can't be, well, you could use straight yellow as a highlighter on top of the brown. But with this type of background, being the blues and grays and a tad bit of brown, white, you really need to warm up that yellow quite a bit. So I'm adding a little bit of water, so we need it thin. And it's almost the consistency of Jell-O. Okay. I'm going to water down that white because I may end up grabbing a little bit of it to highlight. But since I'm messing with my palette, might as well get it all done at the same time. And again, if your paints are drying too fast, turn off your overhead fans or floor fans. That will help. Um, you can use a slow dry for acrylic paint. It's a paint medium, and it's a slow dry. Um, they're also called retarders, drying retarders. Let me see here. Here's one right here. This one's from Joe Sonia. It's a retarder medium, and I've talked about it before on past videos, but it is great. You but follow the directions on the bottle because it takes very, very little. So in other words, if I wanted to add slow dry to this puddle here, I would just maybe a drop, possibly two at the very most. And it comes out really fast. Even though it has the little dropper head up there, it still comes out very quick. So when you use a retarder, you add a couple of drops to your paint, you add the water just like you normally would, and the paint color, and stir it all together. And it will slow down that dry time. And that is if you just want your paints to stay still moist on your palette, or if you're trying to blend with them. All right, we are going to, we're going to just do some little swoops of wheat coming up, and then we'll add some wheat berries to it. Just a few that are fully formed. And then we'll add some that are not, that are all kind of broken down. I don't want to put too much attention on the wheat berries, having too many of them, because the birds are going to come in. We're going to put, one of those chickadees here, chickadee here, and I think one right on top of the post. They'll pretty much cover a lot of those wheat berries, wheat stalks. All right, grabbing into that wet brown, that very, very thin brown with my liner brush, and I always twirl off, and we'll come in here just do a few lines. Again, fill up your brush, twirl off, again fill up your brush, and let's see, I'm going to turn mine so I can get in this area. We'll just do one that's straight up. And again, we may lose it because that's where closer where the birds are going to be sitting. Add a few shorter ones here. Now some of the ones that are just broken, I'm coming up and coming back. You're doing basically a backwards check mark. Going all kinds of directions. They're all beaten down. Not much left of them. And of course, move your board so you can kind of get a good angle. Grab a little bit of that brown yellow that we mixed up. Load your paintbrush, twirl it off. Let's see if it shows up decent on here. Oh, look what I did. I touched that. That's okay. We'll fix it. Yeah, you can go over some of them with a little bit of that yellow brown. It shows up a little bit. See if I can go over this one. Just going back over the brown, putting just a little bit of that yellow. Just to give it a little interest. I'm not doing all of them, just a few. I ran my hand right through, which it won't really hurt because we're going to put snow down here at the bottom. But since I have those colors, background colors on my palette right now, the brown and the white and the gray. Actually, I need to add a little gray. I can just touch that, make that little mistake disappear. But again, it won't matter too much because we are going to put snow everywhere. Okay, to do a wheat, let's do a wheat berry. See if we can get it to look like some of them are still hanging in there, hadn't died off yet. You're going to fill your brush up with the brown, your liner brush with the brown, twirl off. You're going to put just basically, I would say a comma. Think of a comma. Just a little bit at the head. That's going to be the starting of the head. We're going to do the comma on the left, on the right, on the left, on the right, and keep going. You want them as fairly close as you can get. On the left, you're letting your brush do the work. You're just touching your surface. Just touching the surface. As close as you can get them without them going right on top of each other. Works out nicely. Left side, right side. Left side, right side. All right, we'll let that dry a little bit. We'll finish it off. Let's add a little bit more to this one here. And again, we may end up losing some of these because of where the birds are going to go. But maybe not. All right, at the top of this one, you just press. That starts it. And you're going to go left, right. All I'm doing is pressing down, left and right. Let me show you on my hand. Okay. Oop, barbed wire's still there. Let's get rid of that one. Okay. So we have a line, which is the stalk. We'll grab a little bit of paint. We're going to press our brush down. That's all. Just press. Not all the way. We don't want all the way. We just want about a half, maybe fourth. And you're going to press on one side, press on the other, press on one side, press on the other, press on one side. See, and it just kind of becomes a wheat stalk. Okay. That's the closest I'm ever going to get to a tattoo. All right, we're going to finish this one off. Left side, right side, left side, right side. And you don't have to go all the way down. Just, that's probably good right there. As soon as that dries, we'll finish it off. Let's do this one up here. Just touch. Left side, right side, left, right, left, right, left side, right, left, right. That's good right there. Let's have one coming off right here. The top, left, right, left, right, left, right. Try to keep them as close as you can together. Left, right. All right, let's give this one over here. I'm going off camera. Sorry about that, guys. Just touch. Left, right, left, right, left. Okay, one more. You know, they always say do things in odd numbers. Why not? Am I on? Yes, okay, good. In view. Left and right. Okay. Now, finish this one off up here. I think it's pretty well dry. It's got a little bit to it. When you're adding it, your paint like that, it's very similar to the clouds where you've got a little extra paint there. It takes a little time to dry. I'm going to take the brown color and let's add just a smidge of, well, it's running into the white over here. That's perfect. I'm going to add just a little bit of white. Of course, always blend in some water. I need it to be a little darker than our background though, so it shows up. We'll add a little bit more of the brown to that white. And again, a little bit of water. So yeah, you want a light brown color, but it needs to be a darker than what your background color is, right in that section where the wheat is. All right, we're going to touch in that, twirl off, make sure there's no water. I think I saw a little drip. We're going to come in at the base of this. These are wheat berries. We're going to come in at the base and swirl up or swoosh up. I guess that's a better word for it. Same thing all the way. Give it those little hairs. Opposite side, just short little strokes. They're not, I mean, if it was going straight up, then I would do the same swirl on both sides, but this one's not. It's bending a little bit. You can go back in and add a few more if you want, just to give it, because it swaying tells me there's a little movement in here. The wind's blowing, which is great. Adding a few of those. I know there's a proper name for it. I don't know what it is. Those little hairs. Let's do the same on this one. I have to turn this a little bit. Just going straight out. Again, fill your brush with your liner brush with paint. Oh, let's use a little bit of that light brown I made, shall we? All right, fill up your brush with a little bit of that light brown. Twirl it off. Let's see if it's going to show up here. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. No, I'm not liking that. It just covered up more of my wheat berries, which is really kind of okay. May have to add a few more wheat berries back in there, but that's not too bad. Going back to my brown. Load up your brush, twirl it off, do little swirls. You're aiming for the center. It's working its way towards the center. This takes practice, guys, to get it nice and thin. Just going the opposite direction here with straight out. It's not curving. Again, this just takes practice. Filling that one up. All right, I think we got one more to do. Just fill up your brush, twirl it off. Just make little wispy marks. Moving, going straight up. Let's show you on here. We're just doing wispy marks. Moving my brush, going up. Just, oh, I wonder if you can see that with my skin. Little wispy marks. Okay. Hey, that looks kind of cool. Oh, my kids would be proud. Mom got a tattoo. No. Um. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of the wheat berry back in here that I covered up. I do like that light brown. That's pretty. All the rest of these are just broken down. We're not gonna add any more. Maybe let's do one more for the fun of it. One more little weed head here, right at the top. Give it a little comma. We're going to go right, left, right, left. Load your brush, twirl off. Left, right, left, right. That's good. If we want to get real froggy, we could probably do one going that sideways. Because, you know, it'd be so heavy, it's already falling over. Normally, I'd wait and let this dry a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add those little thin hairs. And the opposite side, just straight, moving up. Straight little hairs. And you will use this technique, honestly, next when you ever get to like feathers on birds, the furry part of a bear, a cat. These are the same type of strokes that you would use for that. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more of this yellow brown. And when, let's say that, let's use it there. Let's just put it right on top. A little bit of that yellow brown on top of some of these wheat berries. Makes them pop just a little bit more. Just a little bit here and there. Give it a little interest. Down here. Just going over the brown wheat berries with a little bit of that yellow. All right, let's grab, again, we're going to have a lot of snow on here, and we're going to have the bird, a bird, a bird, a bird. I wonder if we just add a little bit in the snow. I don't know. I think we'll leave it at that. I don't think we'll add any green, because usually by that time of the year, you don't see green. See if that yellow will show up a little bit more on this one. A little bit of yellow. All right, it's coming alive. It is coming alive. Yay. All right. We are going to start adding our birds. And we'll add 3 birds, 3 chickadees, 1 on the post. And I'm going to put one probably, one's on the post. I may put one about right here on this first wire, and then one kind of further back. It's kind of like baby up here, mom and dad watching out for the baby. I think that's a good idea. And to do a chickadee, I'm not using a pattern, so we're going to freehand this. I'm thinking out of all the chickadees I've looked at online, they just remind me of a number 8. And I think I've already said that. So let's start our first one. We're going to grab a little bit of, oh, I've already got black on my palette. A little bit of black paint on your palette. And let's water that down a smidge. We want the consistency of ink or jello. And like we've done before, it's kind of like you eyeball what you're doing and think, okay, now where do I want this particular bird at? So I think I'll do the baby last. We're going to do the first one here. And I want him to be fairly big sitting like this is a close-up. So I will have his head stop. I'm going to put my little mark there. I'm going to have his head stop right there. And his little feet are going to be on this second wire, the bottom wire. And I am going to do basically a round 8. But the bottom is way bigger than the top. So that's all you need to do for now, is make a body that looks pretty much like that. The next one is going to be about right here. And let's say she's just a little bit more plump. So I want her head come up, yeah, I would say about here. So we'll do an 8 shape. Down to the wire. That's not quite round enough for me. So we'll just straighten that up. Okay, the other little one is going to be, oh, I would say about yay tall. He's not going to be that big. So I'll put him about right there, sitting on this old stump. So let's do an H shape. All right. Since we've got this black going on here, one of the things that I know where I live in the wintertime, I live near a lake, so we have a lot of ducks flying over, and they fly over those beautiful, awesome V formation. And oh my gosh, you can they fly right over my garden. And there's been many times I was out there either pulling weeds or doing something to the garden during the wintertime, and that and even though most have flown away, we still have some that still fly over in the winter. And boy, you can hear them a mile off. Quack, quack, quack. But they're flying in such a unique pattern. It is so cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a little bit of that dark brown, add a smidge of black with it, and we are going to do basically it's an M shape. We're going to do a few little birds out here. Okay? Just a few. Again, grabbing a little bit of that dark brown, smidge of the black. And the less detail you have on the birds, the further away they look. So let's say we've got another one over here. But we're going to do right at that dip, we're just going to do a little line. That kind of gives him a head. See, it makes him look closer, and these guys follow him way back behind. And let's add one more. He's really behind.